Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine a world before clocks, before calendars on walls, and before the division of time into hours. Picture a landscape untouched by modern industry. No cities, no roads, and no written words, just a vast, quiet valley stretching into infinity. Two great rivers wind through this flat expanse, moving with a heavy, ancient grace, carrying silt from mountains that no one here has ever seen. These rivers have flowed this way for longer than memory allows, and they will continue long after we have finished our journey tonight. We are traveling back to the very first place that dared to call itself a city, a place defined by the sun and the dark. You are safe and warm where you are, but the timekeeping system you use every morning was born in the world we are entering. The people of this valley never needed clocks. They only knew the sun, the dark, and the river. That is all we need tonight, too. Let us walk there slowly. The river moves with a deliberate, unhurried pace, carrying dark, nutrient-rich silt down from the northern mountains. This silt spreads out across the plain in a wide, quiet fan, a process that has repeated for 10,000 years without fail. There are two rivers here, running almost side by side, close enough that you could walk from one bank to the other in an afternoon. The Tigris is the restless one, quick and energetic, while the Euphrates flows wider and calmer, inviting life to settle along its banks. Between them lies the land, flat in every direction, so level that the sky seems to curve down to touch the earth on all sides. There are no mountains to break the horizon, no forests to hide the view, just soil, water, sky, and the low murmur of wind in reeds. The air smells of mud and wet clay drying under the sun, a heavy, green scent that signifies life in a land of little rain. This smell clings to everything, becoming the very essence of being alive. Underneath it, you can always catch the faint scent of wood smoke. Thin gray threads of smoke rise from hidden cooking fires, drifting sideways in the evening breeze, marking the presence of unseen neighbors nearby. The rivers are not always gentle. In early spring, mountain snowmelt can cause the water to rise, spreading quietly across the fields in darkness. A farmer might wake to find his planted ground transformed into a mirror, reflecting the vast, open sky in a thin sheet of brown water. While this could be a disaster, most years the water recedes slowly, leaving behind a layer of dark, fertile silt that renews the earth. This land is endlessly generous. You do not need to rotate crops or let fields rest. The river does the work underground while you sleep. Along the low edges where water lingers, marshes form. Tall reeds grow so thick they create a green roof, filtering the sunlight into soft beams. Birds nest here in incredible numbers. Herons stand motionless in the shallows, appearing as if they were carved from the gray water itself. Ducks move in loose, unhurried lines as dusk approaches, while the low, steady hum of insects provides a constant soundtrack to the evening. Beyond the marshes, the land dries into pale gold. The grass grows thin, and the wind carries dust, marking the edge of the wilder desert. People have always stayed close to the water. In the heat of the afternoon, the entire world seems to slow down and hold its breath. The light turns white and heavy, pressing down on the flat plains until even the insects go quiet, waiting for the intensity to break. The river surface becomes bright as beaten metal, reflecting the sun back into a sky that is far too brilliant to look at directly. Then, the heat begins to break. The light softens into gold and amber, and the long shadows of the reeds stretch across the water. The birds resume their movement, and the insect hum returns. The thin gray threads of smoke begin to rise again from the cooking fires. The river continues its slow journey, spreading silt in the dark while the people sleep, dreaming of a world that grows richer every day. This is the land, flat, wide, and patient. If you know how to live close to the water, it provides everything you could ever need. Over centuries, people began to stay, building the first permanent homes on this generous soil, slowly forming the foundations of a city. The city does not look like our modern versions. There are no towers or stone avenues, only low houses of mud brick, earth-toned and humble. The houses are pressed close together along narrow, winding lanes designed to offer shade, which is far more valuable here than open space. Thick walls keep the heat of the day outside. Inside, the air remains cool and dim, a sanctuary from the white fire of the streets. Let us follow one family through an ordinary day. Their lives are not remarkable, which is exactly why they are so fascinating to observe. They wake before the sun, rising in the cool final hour of the night to move quietly through their dark, mud-walled home. The first sound of the morning is the rhythmic grinding of barley on stone, a sound that echoes from every house in the city. Flour is pressed into dough and baked against the hot inner wall of a clay oven, filling the lanes with a warm, smoky aroma. By sunrise, the fields are busy. Rows of pale gold barley are tended by channels of water, shifted by farmers with a simple foot movement. The work is repetitive and steady. The body falls into a rhythm bend, pull, move forward, allowing the mind to wander across the flat fields. Further out, boys watch over sheep and goats, knowing each animal by a specific earmark or a unique habit of wandering. Inside the city, potters shape jars on wheels turned by foot, while weavers pass shuttles back and forth in a steady, meditative motion. The low murmur of trade fills the air. Barley exchanged for wool, wool for a jar for a day of labor. The scent of beer is everywhere. It is thick and nourishing, sipped through reeds from shared jars, a staple of the working day. At the city center, the temple rises above the mud brick roofs, a great step tower of earth and brick climbing toward the sky. The temple catches the first light of dawn and holds the last glow of dusk, serving as the heart of the city's memory. Priests use clay tablets to record grain, wages, and offerings, creating a system that allows thoughts to outlive the people who had them. As the afternoon heat peaks, the lanes empty. Doors are pulled shut, and the city waits in the cool, dim silence of its thick walls. When the light softens, the city comes back to life. Voices return to the lanes, and workers head home, raising a haze of gold dust. In the evening, families gather in open courtyards to share bread, fish, and beer, passing stories down in the familiar oral tradition. Children fall asleep to the sound of ancient tales, stories of floods and gods that will be told again tomorrow, just a little differently. Above the courtyard, the sky shifts from gold to deep blue, and the first stars appear, bright and clear without any light pollution. This is the daily cycle: the grinding stone, the fields, the heat, and the evening gathering, a life that circles around the same certain things. There is a deep comfort in this sameness. It is a life that does not rush forward, but rests securely in the rhythm of nature. As full dark falls, the last oil lamps are extinguished. The city settles into the quiet, and the only sound is the river's murmur. Families sleep on rooftops beneath the stars, close enough to hear each other breathe, feeling the cooling earth beneath their reed mats. The stars above are the same ones we see tonight, mapped by priests on the temple terraces who watch the sky with patient devotion. The river moves on in the dark, unseen but ever present, a continuous, calming force that has shaped this world for 10,000 years. Close your eyes again. There is nothing left to watch for. Just the river, the stars, and the breathing of a world at rest. As the afternoon sun begins its slow descent, the intense white glare that defined the day finally starts to break. The heavy, oppressive heat that forced the city into silence begins to loosen its grip on the mud brick walls. Slowly, the lanes come back to life as doors creak open, revealing the first signs of movement in the cooling air. Workers begin their trek back from the fields, their silhouettes casting long, thin shadows against the golden, dusty ground. The animals follow in loose, tired lines, their steady pace raising a soft haze of gold dust into the evening light. Within the courtyards, the day concludes as it began, with the familiar, rhythmic labor of families preparing for the night. We see a woman kneeling, the steady sound of stone against stone grinding grain into flour for the evening meal. This sound, a constant heartbeat of the city, drifts through the thin walls and connects every home in the lane. The scent of baking bread soon fills the air, mingling with the cooling earth as families gather in their courtyards. They sit together on woven mats, sharing a simple meal of bread, lentils, and the thick, nourishing local beer. The reed straws dip into the shared jar, a communal act that reinforces the bonds of the family and the home. Someone begins a story, a tale of ancient floods and clever gods that everyone present already knows by heart. The children listen with wide eyes until their heads grow heavy, eventually drifting off to sleep as the story continues. Nobody minds if the story is interrupted, for it will be told again tomorrow, just as it was told yesterday. Above the low, flat rooftops, the temple stands as a silent sentinel, its massive walls holding the city's collective memory. Its terraces catch the last amber light of the sun, glowing pale against a sky that is rapidly deepening into blue. Within those sacred, cool inner rooms, priests work by the light of small oil lamps, their focus absolute and quiet. They press reeds into soft, wet clay, recording the day's harvest and the distribution of grain with practiced, steady hands. These simple marks are the seeds of history, preserving the reality of their world long after the mud bricks crumble. They are unaware of the legacy they are building, only concerned with the immediate need to remember who owes what. As darkness fully descends, the city grows profoundly quiet, the sounds of the day replaced by the soft evening breeze. The insects in the distant marshes begin their low, steady hum, a sound that has accompanied this land for eons. Families climb to their rooftops, seeking the cool air and the expansive view of the world stretching toward the horizon. They lay down to sleep under a vast, unpolluted canopy of stars, a celestial map that has remained constant for millennia. The stars here are not scattered thinly. They are countless, layer upon layer of light spread across the dark bowl. Some are sharp and bright, while others appear as a fine dust, creating a spectacle no modern city can match. These are the same stars the farmers watched, waiting for sleep, and the same stars the priests mapped with patience. The children fall asleep beneath this ancient light, never wondering what the stars are, only knowing they are beautiful. The river reflects the shimmering light of the heavens, binding the city to the ancient, rhythmic flow of the water. In this moment of stillness, we see a profound sense of peace, where the cycle of life remains unbroken. Somewhere in the temple, a priest remains awake, watching the slow turning of the sky with a practiced, steady eye. He learns the movement of the lights by heart, finding comfort in the fact that the sky always returns home. Down in the streets, the last sounds of the evening fade away, leaving the lanes empty and cloaked in shadows. A dog settles in a doorway, and the faint creak of a reed door signals the final closure of the day. The oil lamps are extinguished one by one, a hand cupped gently over the flame until only darkness remains. A faint smell of oil lingers in the air, a fleeting reminder of the light that once burned in the doorway. On the rooftops, breathing slows as the family settles into the comfort of being close together under the night. A child shifts in their sleep, reaching out to find a parent's hand without even needing to open their eyes. The river moves on in the dark, unseen but never silent, a low murmur at the very edge of hearing. It carries its silt toward a distant sea, indifferent to the sleepers on the rooftops but vital to their survival. The city sleeps, a collection of mud brick homes huddled together for warmth and safety against the vast, open plain. The fields sleep too. The gold of the barley turned to gray in the absence of the sun's guiding light. The marshes remain motionless, the reeds standing like sentinels in the dark, sheltering the birds that nest within. Far above it all, the stars continue their slow, imperceptible rotation, marking the passage of time in the heavens. 10,000 years before this night, the river moved exactly this way, and it will do so for millennia after. There is nothing frightening in this sameness. It is a foundation, a rhythm that allows for rest and continuity. The temple stands pale and silent against the stars, a monument to the need to hold thoughts still in clay. The city's memory is safely tucked away in those cool rooms, waiting for the morning light to reveal it again. Close your eyes now, if they have opened at all, and listen to the silence of a world before clocks. There is nothing left to watch for, only the river, the stars, and the slow, even breathing of the city. The night deepens, and the world feels as though it has been suspended in a moment of perfect, quiet balance. The stars turn so slowly that no one watching could tell they were moving, yet they are never truly still. The river continues its journey, a liquid thread connecting the mountains far to the north with the unknown sea. Somewhere, a final lamp flickers and dies, leaving the city in a state of total, peaceful, and ancient darkness. The fields are formless now, a vast expanse of earth that will be renewed by the water while the farmers sleep. The birds in the marshes are folded into stillness, their presence felt only in the quiet hum of the night. We are left with the essence of the place, the river, the dark, and the slow, steady pulse of human existence. It is a life that does not rush forward, but circles gently around the few certain things that truly matter. The sky, the grain, the family, and the water. These are the anchors that hold the world in its place. Everything is at rest, and the long, slow night continues, cradled by the stars and the patient, endless river.